And so we're going to start off with Lei Liu, who's going to talk to us a little bit about OHDSI China.
Okay, thank you. So OHDSI China chapter is organized by Hua and me and the other two my colleagues. And we are to promote OHDSI methodologies and collaborations among healthcare providers and researchers in China and try to connect Chinese healthcare research to the global community. And we provide trainings and workshops to and some technical support to facilitate local adaptation of OHDSI strategy. For the objectives of 2023, first we promote the OHDSI strategy and methodologies in China. So first we're gonna organize at least 3 online training workshops in China for the first half year, and then continue our monthly online invited speaker presentations. Every month we have that, and then we're gonna organize a OHDSI China annual symposium. That's probably to the last quarter of this year. And the second objective is to create collaboration activities that encourage collaborative research among the healthcare institutions in China. So implement data mapping and ETL processes for at least 3 hospitals using OMAP model. And this kind of happened probably for the first 3 quarters. And they initiated 1 or 2 collaborative studies to certain diseases from at least 2 healthcare institutions using the OHDSI strategy. That will be happened in the next half year. So that's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hua is going to talk to us about our NLP work group.
Sure, I'm here. Next slide. So just the purpose of NLP working group, we are mainly focused on promoting use textual data for the real world evidence generation. Next slide. So this is the objective for the 2023. The first one is focused on the knowledge dissemination. So our main goal is really trying to contribute a chapter on the NLP in the book of OHDSI. So I think the whole working group is excited about this. We trying to divide the work a little bit. We haven't started yet, but I think given how we worked on the JBI paper, I'm sure this is something we can do. The second one is really about the ETL tool for the text normalization. So we will continue on the node type normalization, which we started last year, but we didn't finish it. So we'll continue work on that. And the second part is also still the relation representation. I think we were actually actively discussing that topic. So the third objective is really want to conduct a multi-site clinical studies. We had this goal last year. We started a long COVID study, but we didn't actually complete it. So I feel bad about it. But now this year with additional help from Andrew and other people, I think we raised this again. We're going to do 2 studies. One is on the social determinants health, and the other one is on the delirium. So I think we're actually doing more than just 2, but I hope at least we can deliver 2. And the separate meetings has started to arrange. So hopefully it will happen soon. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Hua. Next up is our Atlas working group, Anthony Sena.
Yep, thanks, Greg. So the Atlas working group is focused on maintaining and improving the Atlas web application and its underlying technologies. So these tools aim to provide capabilities to design standardized analytics to execute on the OMAP common data model, and hopefully you're all familiar with Atlas. Next slide, please. So despite the title, this is our 2023 OKRs. I'm just living in the past and making typos. But our first objective for this year is to release Atlas and WebAPI version 2.13, which is currently under development. And we're targeting delivery for the first quarter of this year. And then after the 2.13 release, our focus is going to change towards establishing and maintaining a robust software development plan for Atlas, with the idea being to make this process more transparent for the OHDSI community. So that's going to consist of a couple of key milestones as we work through subsequent releases. So to start, we're going to identify candidate features for Atlas through active solicitation from the OHDSI community and Atlas users. Once those candidate features are identified, we're going to go through a prioritization process with Patrick and Greg to prioritize which features should go into a release, and then also identify developers to work on those features. So that identification will be done by myself and Alexi. And once the features are identified, we will work with developers to produce design specification documents for each new feature that's being developed. And Chris Knoll will be our technical lead to review and approve those features prior to any development. So once those designs are approved and we feel good about them, then we can work on the feature implementation itself. And that will follow kind of our current process whereby developers will put together pull requests that are reviewed on GitHub. You know, we will make use of GitHub to actively discuss the features and any issues around the implementation. And then once the implementation is complete, we'll coordinate testing across 3 independent sites. That will consist of Odysseus will do some testing. Janssen will also set up its own installation for testing. And then we will push the kind of beta release of that instance to the OHDSI Atlas demo site. And once we've completed testing and fixed all remaining issues, we will announce and communicate the release of the next release to the OHDSI community on the forums. And so to facilitate some of these objectives, we've modified our meeting schedule a bit. So we've had monthly work group meetings since last year, and we will continue to have those. You can think of those as kind of the 1,000-foot view of what's going on with Atlas. And in addition to those meetings, we've added a weekly developer meeting that's on Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning. We basically use those meetings to do more of the kind of groundwork where we're reviewing open pull requests and triaging issues and that sort of work. So both of those taken together will help us achieve the objectives we laid out.
Great, thank you, Anthony. Next is our registry work group, Tina.
Hello, happy Valentine's Day. The purpose of the registry work group is that registry data contains valuable data, apart from the EHR data, which is mainly focused on common data model, or where OMOP common data mainly focuses on. We saw that the interest in registries is very high. And that is also what other people in the group said, that they want to become part of the projects and networks, for example, Eden, that they want to be able to make their data, registry data, fair and create standardized analyses across databases and so on. And that's why, next, sorry. And that's why we thought to get together, because we saw that registry data might face additional challenges compared to data that comes from EHR. And that is, for example, that registry data often consists of data that does not come from EHR alone, and therefore doesn't use or just uses some standards that are widely used in EHR. So standards are missing. And as a group, we aim to identify these challenges and align approaches where possible. And I also put in the achievements, but we can go over them quite quickly. So we are quite a young group still. We came from the UK Biobank working group, and we kickstarted the group with a small survey to get the first impressions, or for me to get the first impressions of the group members. And next, please. And I asked, for example, what is a registry? Because the question is not quite clear, but I will go over that because of the time issues. So next, please. And we also had in the past already several talks from different registries who already had transformed the data to the OMOP common data model to discuss the challenges and experiences. And our main objective for the first half of 23 is that I want to establish a regular meeting routine, because in the survey I saw that the group wants to meet preferably once a month. That is up until now my fault mainly, that we only gather every 3 months, but I will try to do that more often. So that is one of my objective key results. And I want to move ahead with a objective of drawing up conclusions from all these presentations, so that we in the end have mapping conventions, preferably for alignment in registries. And we are also exist to support transformations of registry data that are in the process of transformations within the work group. And next week we have Jean Method, who will transform the data of his registry to the common data model and is there to present his project plan for that. And we are there to support him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. The CDM vocabulary subgroup, Michael Kallfelz.
Hey there. So I've been putting Christian Reich and Anna Stropolitz also on this page, as they have been and will be playing important roles in the vocabulary subgroup going forward. So the vocabulary subgroup is going into its second full year, and we meet right after the community call every Tuesday, bi-weekly, not every Tuesday. Tuesdays bi-weekly. What is the purpose? We support the OHDSI community by the ontologies, that goes without saying, but mostly this is a place for the community to discuss. So here we want to create a forum for people who can bring something forward that they have either issues with or want to contribute. We also try to connect work groups that are in the OHDSI community to figure out vocabulary needs and issues. Next, please. Our objectives. As this is about transparency, we want to run review sessions for specific vocabularies and the build process. So give people a possibility to look behind the curtain a little bit and find out about the processes, how vocabularies are being built. And especially if people have special interest in something, they can sign up for that. Transparency also, we will, as we have seen that this is an important part of the work, we will provide guidance and instructions for community contribution, which is important for enriching the vocabulary content. So the key result will be that we'll have instructions ready and people can start contributing on a different level than it's possible right now. One special approach for contribution is that we will implement a standard approach for mapping. So there is the SASM standard for ontology mapping, and we'll build a machinery to process content that is based on tables that we have derived from SASM and adjusted to OHDSI needs. See you in the vocabulary work group. Oh, you can get to us through the CDM work group. So we are a subgroup of the CDM work group.
Great, thank you so much. Next up, one of our newest work groups, the Dentistry work group. Robert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Robert Koski, and I'm the lead for the Dentistry work group. Our work group's mission is to understand how dentistry can leverage observational research to improve oral health outcomes and further investigate the links between oral health and systemic disease. We have three main goals that we are planning to use to support this mission. We want to expand our work group. So our original goal was to have 3 regularly attending members, and we are now up to about 5. We want to increase our understanding of observational research in dentistry and promote awareness of observational research in the dental community. To this end, we're working on a scoping review of observational research in dentistry, and our plan is to submit it for publication around mid-2023. We're also trying to form a partnership with the American Dental Association's Standards Committee on Dental Informatics to begin work on a dental standard for a common data model. And finally, we want to increase the capability of the dental community to conduct observational research. We want to develop at least 5 dental use cases, find a dental data set and map it to the OMOP common data model, and also explore the role of dental radiology and dental imaging in observational research. Next slide, please. If you want to join us, we meet every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Microsoft Teams. We'd love to have anyone, even if you don't have dental experience. We do a lot in our group, and we hope that you'll join us.
Great, thank you so much, Robert. Next up is our APAC steering group, Mui.
excuse me. So our purpose is.
I think I have the
That's
wrong.
not
Yeah, I have the
ours.
wrong. Yep, sorry. Yeah, you're just gonna have to talk. I have the registry one.
It's okay. So our purpose really is to build a coordinated center within OHDSI APAC to help drive all of the OHDSI activities that are happening in Asia Pacific. We have 3 different goals. Trying to remember this off the top of my head. Number 1 is really to create a collaborative environment where we can collaborate. Last year, we tried that by doing community calls and trying to do newsletters and different type of events. And we reflect a bit about ourselves, and we feel that we do it too often and not getting any more of like a concentrated effort. So what we've been able to do is actually try to concentrate that. So we still have our community call. Our next community call is actually tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if anybody wants to attend, please come and attend and join us. We also have a new way of our second purpose is really trying to do research and trying to expand Asia Pacific in more research. Last year, we started 4 different studies. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish them. However, we, again, are trying to prioritize them. So we started a scientific forum that also happens once a month. It's 2 weeks after the community call at exactly the same time. So 2 Wednesdays from now at 10 p.m. Our next one will actually be prioritizing our studies. So if you I have an interest in helping out or wanting to know about our study, please come and help us. The second thing that we're doing in that particular OKR is actually doing more training. We feel that Asia Pacific learns more through training instead of talking. So a lot of our community calls, we're turning them into training sessions. So like I mentioned, the one at 10 p.m. tomorrow, it's actually going to be teaching people how to utilize the cohort diagnostic tool for one of our studies, our MS study. So again, if you have an interest in learning how to use the cohort diagnostic tool and being taught by the Asia Pacific team, come on over. Or you want to join our MS study, also come on over. As Craig said, one of the things that we also want to utilize for collaboration is a APAC symposium. We will announce that next week. And I can't remember what my third OKR is, but I'll stop there.
Thanks, Moe. Sorry about that. I have
okay.
the OKRs. I have the OKRs written down. I'll put them in the chat once I'm done presenting, but that was my fault. So thank you for doing that. Okay, last one is our GIS work group, and I believe this is Kyle giving the.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thanks, Craig. You could actually go back to that intro slide for a second. I'm Kyle Zollo-Venecek. I co-lead the GIS work group with Andrew Williams and Robert Miller. I'll just briefly go over our purpose before jumping in. Let me just say we meet every 9 a.m. Eastern Time Fridays. You're more than welcome to join if you have a use case or think you can contribute to these goals or anything that broadly fits our purpose, which is that we support the use of place-related data in combination with clinical data to understand the impact of various geographic attributes on exposures, care delivery, and health. To do this, we create or identify the data, schemas, vocabulary, and software required to store, visualize, and analyze data on patient locations and on health-relevant social and environmental geographic attributes so that they can be used by the OHDSI tool stack in an equivalent way to healthcare data. So our goals for Q1 of 2023 are first to finalize development of the schema for the optional GIS OMOP module consisting of a universal schema for storing geospatial data. This module supports standardized query execution on a combination of place-related and person-level data using spatiotemporal relations. So our goal here is this schema has been evolving, developing for probably longer than I've been here. but we're starting to lock it down. We want to present a proposal to the OHDSI CDM work group and integrate their feedback. Once finalized, we want to solidify our documentation on schema and mechanisms for implementation. Our second goal is to expand the corpus of metadata to include new data sources. Our schema and our tooling involves metadata for publicly available data sets. We have a few in there currently. Social vulnerability index is an example. We want to create metadata for new data sets such as the child opportunity index data, area deprivation index, and the IDSR disease surveillance. And we also want to expand the functionality. Currently, we're able to automate retrieval from direct download, public sources available from direct download. We want to expand that to include API data sources. And finally, develop and test the tooling to integrate OMOP clinical data with standardized place-related data. So test querying capacity for joining place-related and person-level data by defining cohort definitions, including clinical and place-related data. We want to engage with our own stats group to create the first draft of a fully specified analytics plan, and finally explore avenues to integrate with OHDSI tooling. So that's it. Again, we meet 9 a.m. Fridays Eastern Time. Feel free to join.